What up, Whiskey Ginger fans? Welcome back to the show. We got another good one for you today, man. Kevin Nealon, love this dude. What an incredible guy. What a great career he's had from SNL to Weeds. He just keeps doing great stuff. I really do love Kevin. He's incredible. A super, super smart, witty, talented mind, man. I love this guy. I'm on the road. Come on, let's go. Come see me. AndrewSantino.com is where you're going to get the tickets. I'm going to be in Houston. Then I'm going to be in Madison. Then I'm going to be in Nashville and Calusa, which is up north near Sacramento, doing a one-night gig at a casino. Come spend your money, ruin your mortgage payment, and see me and laugh. Then I'm also doing Boston, and we're releasing a bunch of dates. We're about to put a whole list of dates out for the fall/winter. But go to AndrewSantino.com and get those tickets. Come see me right now. And if you're looking for the merch, it's in the merch bar below if you're on YouTube or at AndrewSantinoStore.com. And also the Patreon. Hey, we're making good stuff over there. That's where the solo episodes live on Patreon. That's where the Cheeto chats are. And we do Zooms for the top tier, which is really dope once a month. It's very fun to help support the show. So go to patreon.com/whiskeygingerpodcast and join the rest of us at the Whiskey Ginger crew and this family. We appreciate you. We love you. Enough rambling from me. Let's go to the episode.
In here, we pour whiskey, 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 whiskey.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
There it is.
It's about 12:14 here in the silver, what do they call it? The
Silver Fox area? This is
No.
where all the roaming silver foxes are?
You know the intersection, Ventura Boulevard and Laurel Canyon? It's called the Silver Triangle.
Really?
Yeah.
What does that represent?
I don't know. I was on my GPS today, and, I've spent so much time out there. I used to live around there, and I worked at Radford a lot.
Yeah.
But I just found out that they call it the Silver Triangle.
Well, in Chicago, where I grew up, there was an area, they call it the Viagra Triangle, because it's a bunch of old rich dudes trying to pick up young, co-eds. So they call it the Viagra Triangle. And it is true to form. You go down there to like Gibson's or one of those spots.
Yeah.
It's all dudes 60 and up and all girls 22 to 28. And it's wonderful. These people, they connect, they get what they both want, and it works.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. What is Burns Brothers? I thought it was a Brooks Brothers hat.
No, it was a fictitious company, construction company for a show I was on called Man with a Plan with Matt LeBlanc.
Rest in peace.
That's who we were.
I ran into you at CBS Radford. You were shooting that show.
Yeah.
What was I doing there? Probably bombing an
Is
audition.
this a quiz?
Yeah.
You were, oh man, I've been on so many auditions there.
That place I've never booked.
Do you know, I was, when I know it's hard to book out there.
It's why, I don't know, but it is for some reason. CBS Radford is like a bad luck charm.
I auditioned for that show about 5 years ago, and I was coming from the dentist, and they gave me more Novocaine than I had hoped, and so my whole left side was numb, and I'm driving over Laurel Canyon from Century City, and I'm hitting my my cheek to try to make it, get unnumb so I could talk, not like enough for my audition with Matt LeBlanc.
Right.
And it just wouldn't happen. And I get into the parking lot, and there's another guy waiting there who I didn't know at the time. He had a beard, kind of a burly guy, and he was reading for the same part. And I since, talked to him about this. He goes, when I saw you, I thought, I'm not getting it. And it was Tom Segura.
Oh, was?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
He doesn't really audition much for TV shows.
I guess not. But anyway, so I go in there on audition with Matt LeBlanc. I never met him before. Hey, how you doing? And
was that Sylvester Stallone? Who was that?
That was Stallone.
Oh, why was he there with Matt?
Although, you know what? When my son first started watching Man with a Plan, and he saw Matt LeBlanc, he was young. He was like 10 at the time or 9. He goes, "That guy sounds like like Rocky."
Oh, so he heard it too?
Yeah, yeah.
Does he sound like that? I'm trying to think. Yeah. Well, he's
Yeah,
kind of
kinda,
like he's kind of like lumbery in his
blue
voice.
collar, Yeah. But anyway, so I think they thought I had a stroke or something,
Because your mouth was,
Yeah.
it was like
I was
half.
kind of like,
half
yeah,
open. Yeah.
that side was dead,
That's why you got the role.
probably.
And then when they
felt bad
found out
for
that
me.
you didn't have the stroke, they were like, "Oh, Kev,
yeah,
we got to give you a block every time you come in."
we thought We felt bad for you. We were only trying to help you.
How long was that show?
4 years.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
I should introduce you, by the way. We started right away.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whiskey Ginger. My guest today is one of my favorite people on earth. I say that for all my guests, but I mean it once again today. It's Kevin Nealon. Kevin, thanks for being here. Did you enjoy the show?
I did enjoy the show. Yeah,
did.
It was great. Multi-camera, shot right over here in Radford Studios,
Beautiful.
Studio City, and a lot of fun people, good people, and it was, a multi-camera is the best show to do. It's the best schedule. You're home most of the time.
But it's also because you have the rhythm that's good. Like, look, I don't like complimenting you, but you're very talented. That's hard to say. It just really is hard for me to say.
I don't take
that,
compliments lightly.
Okay, well,
What does that
take it
mean?
heavily.
What does that mean?
I don't take them lightly. Watch how you compliment me, pal.
Yeah.
I don't take them lightly.
Yeah.
But you're very talented. That's a skill that you possess, right? Like,
Talent? Yeah.
no.
Oh.
Multicam is hard. I've tried it. I can't. It's not for me. It's
Really?
very hard. I just think it's not obviously the comedic rhythm that you have. It comes with the territory of stand-up, but the rhythm of multicam is not the same. It's very different. The beats aren't as smooth. You kind of have to really learn.
Well,
that
it's kind of
dance.
like a play.
Yeah.
It's taped in front of a live audience, and there's multi-cameras, 4 or 5, and you have to kind of know your lines.
That's
and-
hard. That I don't
And
do.
sometimes it's a line, and that's the closest I've ever come to doing a play. I've never done a play.
Really, I did the vagina monologues in college.
Did you play the vagina?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I played the
nice.
monologue the second season.
Oh, nice.
No, I played the vagina monologues, and I was an abusive husband. I was the one man on. They're always female shows.
Yeah, that was really popular for a while.
Yeah, it was huge, and
Good
I did
job.
it, and the hate I got from it because I played it was like you played a good character. Like, do you ever get that where you played a character well enough on a TV or a movie where people just kind of give you hate because the character was hateable? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I've gotten, when I did Weekend Update on SNL, I got a death threat letter once.
Oh,
But that was it. I didn't get a lot of hate.
what was the
mail.
letter?
It was an actual handwritten letter.
What did it? Did
From
you remember what it
Fayetteville.
said?
Yeah, I remember exactly what it said. It said, Mr. Nealon, how you became so unfunny, I will never know, but I'm going to put a bullet in your big fat Mick head.
Wow.
And for like a week after that, I was really paranoid. I was walking around asking everybody, do you think I have a fat head? Is it fat? Do you think it's fat? I mean, should I lose weight just in my head or the whole body? Or
I like that he made it about your
nationality.
ethnic background. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Your stupid Mick.
your big fat Mick
I imagine
head.
he wrote it, your big fat head, and was like,
Yeah.
big fat
I said,
Mick head.
Nealon, that's Irish. You want to put Mick in there.
That's wild. Well, because also the days that you were on Saturday Night Live, maybe I'm wrong, and you can correct me. I feel like you guys push the limits a little bit more than they do today.
Well, one
That's
time,
no disrespect to today. I just think time
Yeah.
was very different.
one time they got rid of the censor on the show.
What do you mean, like the?
The person who's, the NBC person who lets you know what's appropriate and what's not and won't fly, on air. Like, they would say, you can't do this. And you really have to kind of negotiate with those people. Like when you write a script, you write way over the top so that you give them something. Say, okay, we'll take out
Right.
the grasshopper penis thing,
the
but
best
can I leave this part in?
Right.
And with the part you really wanted in,
That's
I go, yeah,
smart.
that's fine. But so they got rid of the censor one week, and that's the week we did the penis sketch, Penis Town. Hey, penis looking good, Bob. Yeah, where you from? Denver. Oh, it's good, Penis Town. So we said penis like 2,100 times.
So what did they cut?
2,000. So they didn't cut anything
No,
because
they
the
left
censor
it.
was not there. But the next week
Oh.
the censor was back.
What did the censor take a week off for some reason?
No, they just thought they didn't need a censor.
They don't.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's the time? That's why the internet has kind of. You can do a sketch on the internet now without any rules. SNL has to work within the confines, which I think is really tough for that show. And they do as good as they can with being on a national television network. But I do think historically, that show always kind of pushed the limits of stuff. And it's weird to see it now kind of adhere to social rules a little bit more than they used to. I mean, they said the N-word in the first episode. It's kind of crazy to
Who
think
said
about.
the N-word?
Chevy did, right?
Oh, and the original.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
what
don't
mean.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Eddie called him a honky, and they were going back and
Oh, right,
forth, and he
right.
calls him the N-word. And I remember watching
Eddie
that.
who?
Eddie Murphane.
That wasn't the first episode if Eddie Murphy was on.
It was the first episode he was on. I mean,
Oh, if he was on. Okay.
Yeah.
And Chevy Chase was hosting or something?
I don't know how that worked out. I don't remember what it was.
I need a little more clarification about the N-word
Well,
use.
Let's. Well, you love it so much. He said it. Kevin said it on the way in to me. He called me the N-word on the way in, which I accepted. I graciously accepted it, but it was just an interesting move on your behalf. He said it to, they were arguing and he said it to him. I don't know. I think it was Eddie's first episode.
Yeah.
But also, I just think that show always has kind of done crazy shit and said crazy shit. And now it's harder to say crazy shit because, you know, everyone's a little scared of saying the thing you shouldn't have said.
Well, it's funny, like people are really cautious about what they say. They're really self-censoring themselves, you know, filtering a lot. Like I've noticed that people are even afraid to say the name of an ethnic race. You know, like you'll hear somebody talking, they'll say, you know, I was down on Wilshire the other day and there was a couple of black guys behind me the other day. And, you know, I go to this food truck all the time. I love it down there. This Mexican guy owns it, you know.
Right.
I always get a burrito when I'm down there. You know, they don't keep the words quiet that should be quiet. Like I was talking to some politicians the other day, you know, most of those guys are lawyers. But, you know, you asked me about, you know, if people,
That's how I'm going to wish. I'm like, yeah, you know, I talked to my agent the other day and what?
yeah,
It is true. I also don't like the word African American. I've said that often. I think
I can't keep up. Is it black now or is it African?
It's always been black.
I don't think they mind.
Yeah, no. If you ever have any black people that are in your life, like if you're friends with them or work associates, ask them. This is the biggest annoyance about white people. They just assume that they know the best version of things. Go ask a friend. If you don't have any black friends, that's a whole nother story. But black people have never liked to be called African American. I've never had one black friend in my life who prefers to be called African American.
I'm not Irish American.
No, you're not. You're a white guy.
Yeah,
You're a white guy.
Are you offended when somebody calls you a white guy?
That's what I am. How could I? I'm white. I mean,
But you're not really white. You're more
orange,
orangey, kind of a pink.
I'm a pink hue.
Kind of purple bruised.
Ooh, that's a good. That's my hue, purple hue, bruised. All right, look, you've got a little bit more tan than I do, but you're not by much.
No, I'm beige. I'm a
You're-
beige guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you name your next special beige guy? Beige guy.
You know,
a beige man.
I have some road gigs coming up, a whole bunch of them.
Plug them.
I'm not really, I'm not going to plug them because I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But if people go to kevinnealon.com, they can see where I'm going.
Okay.
But I should call it a tour, but I can never come up with a name.
I did
for
the
a tour.
exact same. Yesterday, I did have a call with my agent, and he said, you need to have a tour name because everyone's doing this.
Yeah.
Tom Segura's tour, which I think is the most clever name, it's called I'm Coming Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's great. Whitney's just put out.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me because she had the Can I Touch It on her Netflix special. I just saw another one this morning too that I thought was very clever. But anyway, yeah, people do that. I'm not good at that.
I can't come up with a name.
Kevin Nealon Live is fine.
How about just I'll be there tour?
Here's a list of cities
How
I'm
about
going
the
to be
legendary tour? I'll take it from Weeds.
The
You know,
legendary tour.
That was my little catchphrase in Weeds. Legendary.
That was a great
That's how-
show, by the way.
That was good. In fact, you were asking me before about people when they come to see me. I forget how you paraphrased it, but anyway, sometimes people during the Weeds window, when I was on Weeds, they were a little disappointed because they thought they were coming to see Doug Wilson do stand-up.
Really?
Yes.
They just that's what they needed.
Yeah, they thought Doug Wilson was doing stand-up, not Kevin Nealon.
But
Imagine what they do when they see Bob Saget do stand-up.
blow their mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about the twins in a very weird way. I think people that don't know Bob don't understand that he's that squeaky clean image that people, particularly very young people, grew up with, didn't have any idea. The only reason I knew is because I was in love with stand-up. And as a kid, I was obsessed with stand-up. So
Yeah.
I knew the other side of that story, but my friends thought, they were like, that's not true. That guy's not like he's like a dorky dad, sweetheart. I'm like, no, he's a dirty-mouthed guy's guy.
I've worked with Bob a lot over the years. We both kind of started out around the same time back in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, we worked in Anchorage, Alaska, a couple times.
There's a show up there?
There was a strip club up there that Jay Leno told us about. He goes, yeah, paying cash up there. Go, you tell some jokes, get some cash. Yeah, it's a good gig. So we go up there, and it's called PJ Strip Club. It was in Anchorage, Alaska. And you literally follow the strip show. The strippers come off with their pasties, and they're on pasties on fire. They have lockers. And you go out to the same audience. And the guys in flannel shirt, the oil workers and the lumberjacks.
There's no way they want to hear you.
Well, they're sticking around. They don't have to stick around, but they do. But, they kind of eventually get up and leave. But Bob and I both did that show. A lot of comics did it. And then they put you up in a trailer on the owner's property. And it was just like a big room. It might have had a bathroom in it, but there was no furniture. It had 2 beds in it, one on both sides.
Right.
And there was nothing for us to do. So me and Bob would just lay in bed, and we would come up. We would see who'd come up with the dirtiest, filthiest sentence. You know,
Just like a one sentence.
just a long running on sentence. You know, that had no grammar to it or anything.
Right,
You know,
right.
And we would just laugh ourselves asleep. You know,
His filth category is unique. He's good at coming up with like really dirty, disgusting. But you're not a dirty guy on stage.
no.
I mean, clean is such an annoying word because I wouldn't say you're clean, but you're
I'm more dark than
yeah.
anything else, dark in a dry way. But, you know, when I started doing stand-up, there wasn't all of these. The only thing they had was HBO, and you could be dirty in HBO.
right.
But everybody was saying, like, you got to be clean. You got to be clean. Plus, you know, if my parents came to the show, we never swore in our house growing up, and everything was appropriate. So I didn't want to have like 2 minutes of material when they came, you know, so my
Right.
show, mine was always clean. And so, yeah, so if you wanted to do the Tonight Show, you had to be clean.
What
Or-
year did you do the Tonight Show?
I did it in '84 the first time.
Did you kill?
1984. I did. I
You
got
did.
panel. I got couch with them.
You got
and
couched.
It was the best thing ever. And I was so scared. My mouth was so dry. Like when I came out from behind the curtain, they were applauding. He introduced me, you know,
Mhm.
and as I'm walking out to my spot, the audience is applauding. I could smell a little bit of Johnny Carson's cigarette from the commercial break, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I totally blanked out. I couldn't remember my act. I could not remember it for anything. And after the last clap ended, it came to me, and I started.
Wow.
And it just snowballed. I was getting laughs and applause breaks. And I hear Johnny laughing, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm outside of my skin. I'm thinking, I'm on the Tonight Show, and I'm killing.
That's
I'm-
awesome.
This is what I always wanted.
Yeah.
And I ended, and because of the applause, I mean, it went longer than it should have, and they had to bump the next act,
Oh, really?
which was a girl I dated for about 6 months. I met her there.
What?
Yeah. So I go behind the curtain. Johnny gives me the okay thing. And then the talent coordinator, Jim McCulley's name was, he goes, that was great. Stick around. I think Johnny wants to talk to you after the commercial break.
Yeah. Do you load up material that you want to talk about on the couch?
Well, I didn't think I would be doing the couch.
Oh, you never even considered it.
No, I mean, I considered it, but I didn't really have anything planned. But he goes to me, the talent coordinator, he goes, okay, Johnny, he's going to want to talk to you. So what can we talk about? And then he goes, oh, you got plenty of stuff. Don't worry about it. I went out there and I had a joke that was like one of my best jokes that I hadn't used for some reason on that set. But it was like, he goes, I remember exactly what he said. He goes, that was funny. Now, what am I pronouncing your name right? I said, he goes, Kevin Nealon? I said, it's Kevon, actually, Kevon. And he laughed, you know. And then he goes, so you're working on the road a lot? And I said, yeah, it gets a little lonely out there, Johnny. He goes, yeah, I bet it does. And he goes, how do you deal with that? I go, well, you know, they say calling long distance is the next best thing to being there, because that was the commercial at the time for, you know, whatever the
Pacific Bell.
Yeah. And I said, I think the next best thing to being there is being with someone that looks similar. You know, and he threw his head back. Some more smoke came out. You know, he was laughing. and I just went, everything went so well. And then I dated a girl that I bumped. We had a mutual friend.
What was her thing? What was
She
she
was an
gonna-
actress.
Oh, she was just going to come out and do couch as an
Yeah,
actress.
she was going to promote her show.
Oh,
She was
wow.
on.
And you bumped her.
Yeah, we had a mutual friend.
And you bumped her.
And yeah, but anyway, it was like the highlight of my career more than anything else, more than SNL, because, you know, stand up is really what I wanted to do, and that show is what I wanted to do. But now it's kind of like dated. You don't even put it like on your resume or talk. You know.
Well, comedy fans, I think, still understand the weight and the gravity of what Carson did and what he
Yeah.
created. So I think it's still well respected. But I know what you mean. I think young people don't. I think young people, we don't have that thing now. That's like the kingmaker. It doesn't
Right.
really exist anymore.
Right.
So I mean, for me as a kid, I thought that was so cool when people did Carson and got the couch. I thought that was such a wild. It was like
And you know what else,
you got
Andrew?
blessed publicly.
Oh yeah, and I knew, because I used to live at the Improv. I was a bartender there for a couple of years,
That's
and I would
right,
go
yeah.
there every night. When I had friends coming to town, like from Connecticut, where I was from, they wanted to see LA. I said, I don't really know anywhere. I could take you down to the Improv, because that's where I kind of like hang out.
Every night.
Every night. So I used to see, and I knew that when somebody did the Tonight Show for the first time, they had a TV over the bar. It wasn't a plasma screen. It was like a TV they hung, you know, and everybody would come out into the bar, all the comics, and they would watch the comic do the Tonight Show for the first time, especially. If it was
That's
the
cool.
first time. And I knew everybody was out there watching. and I still have the answering machine tape in my, you know, telephone message recorder.
Yeah.
From back then. It's like a cassette tape of all the comics calling me and congratulating me, like
wow.
Paul Reiser, Brad Garrett, Gary Shandling, Bob Saget.
Wow.
You know, it was the highlight of my career.
That tape's worth a lot to you.
It is. I love it. And nothing really has kind of like
Felt that way?
matched that. Yeah.
Was Lauren? Did he know you from that?
I don't know where he knew me from. Dana Carvey recommended me to Lauren.
Right.
See, I never like, all I wanted to do was stand up. I was like you. I just love stand up. I used to highlight the comics that were going to be on TV in the TV Guide. And I would be there to watch George Miller on Merv Griffin or whatever, you know, or whomever, you know, and I knew every comic. And Saturday Night Live was a show that I just knew people died to try to get auditions for that whenever they came through town. And so I'm friends with Dana Carvey. We're actually sharing a house in the Hollywood Hills with another comic, Bob Duback, and a writer friend of mine, Joe Kenny. And I'm dating Jan Hooks at the time, who was on the show, who actually got on the show when I did. But Dana got on the show that summer for that coming fall. This is back in the 1900s.
And drove his horse-drawn carriage all the way to New York City.
That's right. It was an Uber carriage. And he calls me 2 weeks later and he says, Kevin, they're looking for another cast member. You know, and I told Lauren about you and, you know, he wants to see your audition tape. So I sent my Tonight Show stuff in.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. That's how I got it. You know, and then I had to go audition too.
And Weekend Update, a choice?
The Weekend Update was something Lauren, I think, always kind of had an eye on me to do. And when Dennis was finished, he offered it to me, and I always loved Chevy Chase.
Yeah,
the way he did it. You know, everybody's got their own thing. Dennis did it great, but everybody has their own thing. You know, it's the way they do it. But I like more the dry newscaster, so he was kind of my role model, Chevy Chase. And then that opened up, and I'm telling you, that Weekend Update spot, I was still doing sketches and stuff too, characters.
Yeah,
you know, I wasn't just doing Weekend Update, and that was it wasn't difficult, but it was a challenge because a lot of people didn't want to write for Weekend Update because they wanted to write their own sketches.
Sure.
And they wanted to have their catchphrase and all that, you know. And the newer writers would write, and they weren't that good. So I was paying people $50 out of my own pocket to fax in jokes, like Drake Sather and some of these other people.
Guys from out here.
From out here.
Yeah.
And I would get these faxes, and then I'd write my own jokes too. But you couldn't write anything until Saturday morning, because all the other talk shows were doing it, you know, Thursday, Friday, you know. And so Saturday morning, I'd get up and I'd get like 5 newspapers at home and I'd start writing jokes. Maybe sometimes even late Friday, I'd look. There was no computers back then. It sounds so ancient.
No,
but there was we had AP photos and newspapers. And so Lauren, to try to get people to come and write, put out a breakfast up on the 17th floor of the writer's wing. A hot catered breakfast, and had newspapers. And the only people that would come would be the new writers, Al Franken, because he was a political pundit. Norm Macdonald would come up to read the paper and have breakfast.
Right, not to write jokes.
Yeah, and then me. And you know, we put it together and do it. But it was very, it is the pivotal point of the show. So it's a really kind of a high pressure spot to be in.
Oh, yeah.
And people are also very judgmental, especially when somebody's been doing it for 5 or 6 years before you and they're used to that person.
Yeah.
And when you come in, they're going to be they'll either be happy or angry that you're doing it now. You know?
Yeah, it's a lot easier to become a cast member and just jump into sketches because they slowly kind of finagle you into sketches. And then slowly by surely they build you up. With Weekend, you have to just do Weekend.
But the Weekend Update came like 5 years into my run.
Yeah.
And I had been doing feature spots on there and stuff. And I always did the warm-ups for SNL, too.
What?
I would come out and do the warm-ups.
There's no warm-up comic today.
There isn't?
I don't think so.
I think there is.
There is?
There must be. Yeah. I think somebody comes out.
Because I've gone to a couple tapes, but I'm always backstage, and I never really, I don't go out until the show's up.
Well, I like doing it because it helped me get over my nerves. And it got the audience used to seeing me, too.
Right.
So I would go out there, but I had a full plate. I was doing Weekend Update. I had maybe had a sketch on that week where I had to kind of produce that and look at that. And then I had the warm-ups to do. you know?
Jesus. Did you ask to do warm-up or did they ask you?
I don't remember, but I did it for 8 years.
And no one did other
No,
cast
not 8
mem-
years. I did. Dennis used to do it before me.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. So I did it for maybe 5 or 6 years.
In here, we pour whiskey.
Is there something interfering with your happiness? We have spoken about this on this show, on my other show, very often, that BetterHelp is incredible. It's not a crisis line. It's not a self-help line. It's professional counseling done privately and securely at the comfort of your own home or whatever location, work, wherever you are. I got to tell you, I use BetterHelp, and I'm a big proponent of speaking to somebody. And BetterHelp is great because it's cheaper than traditional offline counseling, which is very expensive. And also, when you go in, it's in a weird, gross office, and everything is taupe or beige and overly well lit. And there's a guy reading a highlights magazine there, and he's making you uncomfortable because he's circling stuff, and you know he shouldn't be circling stuff because that's for somebody else. That's for children. And I got to tell you, if you are needing to talk to somebody, BetterHelp is incredible. You can log into your account anytime from anywhere. And these are professionals. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. And you should be talking to someone. I am a big proponent of someone that says mental health is very important, and making sure that you're getting help that you need is a big deal. And there's a broad range of expertise, and the service is available for clients all over the globe, all over this beautiful world. Log into your account from anywhere at any time. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier, healthier life today. You can go see the reviews at betterhelp.com/reviews. And go to betterhelp.com/whiskey. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. Join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. And right now, you can head over there. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. And Whiskey Ginger listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/whiskey. It's great. Please try it. betterhelp.com/whiskey. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. All right? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. But if it's broken, you should fix it. Clogged sinks, finicky engines, when things break around the house, you fix it. So, when something's off in the bedroom, don't avoid it. Fix it. All right? Get Roman. Roman is the best. What are you waiting for? With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED. ED is not embarrassing. Millions and millions and millions of men have this issue. It's not a big deal. Who cares? Because you can fix it with technology, baby. Licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. And if medication is appropriate, it ships to you for free. 2-day shipping for free. The whole process is straightforward and discreet. And getting started is easy. Just go to roman.com/whiskey and complete an online visit. Let them know what's going on. Look, a lot of guys have trouble getting blood down there. It's not that big of a deal. Who cares? Maybe your mind is focused on other things. Well, Roman's going to help you out. Take care of your ED without leaving your home. Complete an online visit today and connect with a healthcare professional to take care of it. It gets to your front door in a discreet box. Nobody knows. It's your business, and have some fun. Enjoy what's going on in the bedroom. Fix your little baby minuscule problem. Easy as that. Go to getroman.com/whiskey right now. You'll get $15 off your first month. It's time to take care of your ED. And remember, get started today and you'll save $15 on your first order of ED treatment. Get help. It's real easy. And then light the bedroom on fire, baby. Getroman.com/whiskey. That's getroman.com/whiskey.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Now, they must have one now. I guess I never thought about it. I
They
tested 5 years ago.
For COVID or?
No, I tested positive for COVID 5 months ago. 3 weeks
Did you
ago.
really? You had COVID?
I had COVID in October.
Did you really?
Coming up on my 1-year COVID anniversary. Yeah, I'm excited.
I heard it comes back every year.
It does, but you don't have to let it in.
Yeah.
You can shove it off.
Just like anxiety.
Oh, that's a lot harder to avoid. That's going to stick with you. Yeah, I tested for SNL 6 years ago. I don't even know. But it was a great process. They laughed.
Did you go to NBC?
Yeah, I went to New York. I went to New York, tested, came back to LA, got a phone call and said, Lauren wants to have lunch with you and all that stuff.
Really?
Mhm.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah, and then I went back and he was really nice. We sat in his office for like an hour and a half and
Well, you got really close then.
yeah, it was me and Pete Davidson. It was, and Lauren was very cool about it. The way he said it was, I respected him for it. He was like, I'm looking for a specific puzzle piece, and you're a very talented guy. You do great on the show. I just don't know if you're the piece I'm looking for. And I understood, like, clearly. I was like,
And
yeah.
you said, how can I convince you?
I pulled out a gun and I said, put me on the goddamn
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
No, I took it. I understood what he meant because I did great. My audition was phenomenal.
Yeah.
They laughed at every single character I did. So I knew I did great. And then I had known Pete. I just met Pete at Montreal, and he was 19 or maybe 20. I don't even know. But I realized, I was like, it's me. I'm a 30-year-old guy versus a 19-year-old guy, a kid. I understood it was like they want a young guy to either mold or they want an experienced guy. Because at that point, I already done a couple sitcoms. I'd already had headlined a little bit. Like, my feet were more than wet. So I got it. When he said that, I was like, this makes sense. The kid makes sense. And I wasn't mad about it, oddly enough. I was just kind of like, I understood it.
Yeah. You were more of a businessman thinking like him.
Well, I was just like, yeah, this makes sense. I got why he did it.
It's funny as you get older and you're more seasoned and you've been in the business for a while, you don't take things personally.
You can't.
You think like a producer, you go, yeah, I see where you're going with that.
Right.
Yeah, that seems to work. I remember I auditioned, never thought I would get it. I walked into Studio 8H in New York, at 30 Rock, and I immediately got really tired because I used to fall asleep watching that show as an association thing. I thought, this looks familiar.
Fall asleep in the middle of my audition.
Yeah. And then I fly home, and I'm thinking, okay, it's just a free trip to New York. That's all I expected. And 2 weeks later, I'm sitting across from Lorne in a high-rise in Beverly Hills, and he's offering me a job at SNL.
Wow.
And I played it like really cool. I said, well, thank you, Mr. Michael. Let me think about it over the weekend.
What a shot. What if he was like, fuck you?
That's the way I work, baby.
Yeah,
That's
that
how
was
I
smooth.
negotiate. How do you think I ended up on your show right here?
Well, your agent called me and said, can Kev be on the show? How old were you when you were on SNL?
I was about 34.
Oh, yeah. See, and you know what the thing about that show was, I felt like they've still held true to that, where they do have, a lot of people get that show late, and then a lot of people, they give them really, really young. It's really interesting how sometimes they give people that show later in your career.
Yeah. I was 33.
33. I mean, still, though, you're not 20.
But there was another guy on there.
22-year-olds on the show.
There was another guy on there that was super old.
Who?
On our cast. He was coming in that year, too. And I hadn't met him, and everybody was talking about him, and they were saying he was 37. I thought, oh, this guy's old.
What an old man.
It was Phil Hartman.
Oh, yeah. How old was Daryl when he got the show?
Daryl Hammond?
Yeah, he had to have been 40-something.
He was after me.
Yeah, but I'm saying, yeah, that's what I mean. I think he was in his 40s when he got that show.
And he's still on it, isn't he?
And Leslie, Leslie got it when she was 50 or 49 or 48 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, she was much older. I mean, she's 106 now.
So let's see. 10 divided by 7.
Carry the 6.
Carry
And
the 5 divided by 3.
8, 6, 7,
Pi
5,
square.
30?
Yeah.
2. Yeah.
32.
32. Yeah. No, those days are long gone, but I was happy I was a part of it for the time being.
I always think, what would I have done if I didn't do that show?
Been successful as a stand-up anyway?
I had auditioned for a show like a couple years after I moved out here, and I had 5 callbacks, and I was so excited. My manager was excited too, and I remember hearing the 2 producers look at each other and go, "We're not getting any closer than this." And I walked outside of the office. It was at Paramount. I looked around. I thought, well, I guess this could be my new home. A week goes by. I don't hear anything. 2 weeks, and I find out they're looking at older people for the role. And it was for Sam Malone on Cheers. Ted Danson got it.
Wow.
Yeah. But I had been, originally it was not a baseball player, it was a football player from the East Coast and a bartender, ex-bartender. And I was both of those.
Perfect.
Ex-football player, bartender. I was from the East Coast. And then I see it come on and it does so well. But had I done that, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. My life would have changed.
You'd be
Do you believe in that kind of stuff?
You'd be a billionaire, yeah.
I'd be so rich.
Yeah.
Do you believe in that, like signs and things like if you went through that orange light, that yellow light, your life would change, but you stopped instead?
Butterfly effect? Sometimes.
Is that what it is, the butterfly effect?
Yeah, one element changes the rest of history forever. I do think some things I think about, but I don't think it happens as often as we'd like. I think it does happen, but when it does, it's almost like 2 cosmos just like, I think it's just a total, complete coincidence.
Like, do you believe in a
thing changes.
soulmate?
No. I don't think there's one person for you.
But there is one person who would be the best for you out of everybody in the world.
7 billion people. You don't think you could meet another person that would have a lot of good things
Not
in
as
common with
good
you?
as that person you'll never meet that is your soulmate.
Right, you'll never meet him.
You'll never.
You know what?
Geographically, most people hook up or get married to the person that is in their circle.
Location.
Whether they're in an improv group or
Yeah.
a skating group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's location. Or high school. And, you go to a high school and you fall in love with the prettiest girl at that high school, which may not be that pretty of a girl and bystanders in the rest of the world.
Globally.
But because that's in your environment.
That's what works.
That's what works for you.
Yeah, we live in a vacuum. I think a soulmate may exist. This is a good idea. We'll never meet our soulmates. I think there is someone for everyone. You'll never get to meet them.
Probably not.
It's impossible. The odds are impossible.
And the kismet of meeting them. I mean, even with internet now and with all of these online dating things where they can narrow it down to people that are
right.
the way I don't know how you did it, but I just happened to meet my wife.
Yeah, I just met her.
Did I say wife? Wives.
Sorry. How many are you on?
This is my last one, my second one.
Your second one is last. That's fine.
Yeah.
Two seems right. 3 would be.
One is understandable.
One's fine. One's very cliche.
I mean, who did I talk to recently that engaged like 5 times?
Wasn't Liza Minnelli married like 100 times? And she married the same guy twice?
Yeah. There's no excuse for marrying the same guy twice.
Why? What's the purpose? I never understood that.
Well, I was in Aspen a couple years ago. No, it was like 20, 30 years ago.
Comedy festival?
I think it was. And
Yeah.
Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith he just proposed to her again. They're getting remarried.
Right.
And I had dinner with them that night at some restaurant.
You did?
Yeah.
How do you know that? How'd you know them?
She hosted SNL once.
Ah,
It's funny, when somebody hosts SNL, you're friends forever
Right.
because they're so terrified and they bond with you so tightly.
yeah.
I mean, I could go down to Tennessee and knock on Dolly Parton's door. Oh, hey, Kevin. You know.
It's like that. So because they create this trust with you because you're helping them through this.
and it's a memory for them because
Right.
it's exhilarating, you know, and it's...
Who was your least favorite person that hosted the show?
You know, everybody asked me this. I never answer them, but I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you who it was.
Who was it?
They're not alive anymore.
Oh, so it's easy. That's fine.
Yeah. Buster Keaton.
Buster Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I was going with it. And when did he host? When did Buster host?
You know, he'd been around for a while. I saw him on Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Buster Keaton.
Yeah.
You know, he did some guest spots on different shows.
He was 80 then, I think.
Yeah, he probably was.
Yeah.
But no, everybody was on their best behavior.
Liar.
I'll tell you I really felt for some people though on that show.
Because they would bomb.
They were terrified.
Yeah.
Because they never did live TV.
Mhm.
At least we did stand up. So I came from a background where I was in front of a live audience, and I just had to like discount the cameras. You know, that was my way of rationalizing my to get out of my fear. Was there's no cameras, nobody's watching the show because it was almost canceled the year before we went on. You know,
Right.
so some people I felt really bad for. Like I was getting a life mask made once. You know what that is?
No.
They have to make a
Oh,
prosthetic
yes.
piece. So
Yeah.
they put plaster all over your face.
Right.
And they cover everything except for your nostrils.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think I'd have a problem with it. And they put plastic over your body and you can't hear anything. You can't see. And it takes 11 minutes. He told me all this. And he was talking to me like, this is a big deal. And I'm like, what are you worried about? Let's just do it. I don't mind.
Mm.
You know, I feel like it's Halloween, you know? So he puts all the plaster on. It starts to harden. And it's getting hot. And I realized that the only way for me to breathe is out of my nostrils. And if somebody were to close that, I would be toast.
You'd die.
I started panicking.
Yeah.
And I started getting lightheaded. And I told him, take it off. Take it off. He goes, what, take it off? I could barely hear him. He goes, take it off? Oh, yeah. I could feel his thumbs under the plaster. And then I passed out.
Whoa.
The next thing I remember, he had smelling salts. And I woke up. He goes, you all right? I go, yeah. What happened? He goes, you passed out in the thing. You know, I said, wow. He goes, I think I might be able to salvage the mask, though. I put it in cold water because I didn't want to have to go through it again.
Mm-hmm.
And he showed it to me. It looked like this. But anyway, so I said, let's do it again because I don't want to have that crazy, thing about passing out. Let's try it again. He goes, okay, let's do it again if you want to, but I'll keep your hands outside the plastic. I'll turn the radio up loud so you have that sensory, thing. And we'll do it again. So I did it again. And I almost passed out again. But a week later,
Yeah.
and this is for a Jay Leno mask, a chin. They need the chin.
the chin.
So a week later, I'm on the subway, and it stops in between stations, and it's dark. I started getting that same feeling again. I was traumatized by it.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, no. And it just snowballed. I became claustrophobic. even to the extent of being on stage. Like, I didn't know if I could stay on stage. If they said, you got to do 45 minutes, like at the Laugh Festival, the Just for Laughs in Montreal, your headliner, you're doing 45 minutes. I go, oh, that means I'm trapped. I can't leave. And that made me panicky. So I would always tell the MC, stay close because I might have to leave. And they go, okay. I said, no, I'm serious. And, cars, if I was driving away from home, it started going into agoraphobia. If I saw traffic on the other side of the freeway going back to my house, I would get panicky. Or if I was on a bridge in traffic. Or
Is
if a
it
plane,
still that way today?
No, I got over it because I confronted all my fears.
In here, we pour whiskey.
Guys, the sport of business means demanding excellence from your craft and your wardrobe. Your fit's got to be versatile. You can't have just one look. You got to blend timeless style to new age stuff. You got to look good and feel good. Cuts Clothing is the best. Let me tell you something. They sent me a box, and I'm always skeptical. But genuinely, this stuff is great. Honestly, the cut shirts, the polos, the hoodies. I like the polo a lot because I can wear it when I go golfing, like the white dork that I am. But then I can wear it out afterwards and not feel like I've got to go home and change immediately because I'm wearing a traditional golf shirt. This looks and feels biz cash, and it's it's built for performance in the boardroom, the bar, the gym. These are versatile pieces of clothing, which I think is great. Wherever life takes you, the plain tee is great. The bleeding edge of fabric technology meets the man confident enough to wear it. That's Cuts Clothing, baby. The Cuts founder, Steve Borelli, set out to create clothes ready for every occasion in the modern times, which I think is great. You can wear them to the gym, wear them out at the golf course, wear them to the beach, then go to dinner. It's the perfect t-shirt that they've got. I got to tell you, they set out to make the perfect t-shirt, and it's good. The Cuts hoodie is great too. This Hyperloop French terry fabric. It's a textile temperature controlled, and it's ageless, so it's not going to get all scummy and messed up as you get older. Try the wrinkle-free Pika. That Pika Polo, that's what I like. A design that helps you fit it for the office, the golf course, the gym, or wherever you may be, or just lounging around the crib. It's not just a lifestyle. It's not just clothing. It's office, leisure apparel for the sport of business. Get 15% off your first order by going to cutsclothing.com/whiskey. Cutsclothing.com/whiskey. Cutsclothing.com/whiskey for 15% off the only shirt worth wearing.
Ginger. I like gingers.
I'm telling you this because, like I said, I felt bad for some people on that show. And one of those people was Jeff Daniels. It's Friday, day before the show. He's hosting. I don't see him around. And Jim Downey, the head writer, comes up to me and he goes, "Did you hear what's going on with Jeff Daniels?" I say, "No, what's happening?" He goes, "They put a life mask on him. They can't get it off." I started, what? And he's kind of snickering a little bit. He goes, "Yeah, it's crazy. They can't get it off. I think that, the mixture of chemicals, it hardened, and he had like a 5 o'clock growth, and it stuck to his eyebrows and his eyelashes. They couldn't get it off. So they said, just stay calm. We're going to pull it away from your forehead and pour water down, and we're going to put straws up your nose so you could breathe, so the water, So they put the straws up his nose and they poured the water down, but it didn't work. It didn't loosen it from his eyebrows. It gave him a bloody nose. So there was this bright red blood on the white plaster, and he can't get it off. And if he throws up or something, he'll
dead.
drown.
Yeah.
And I'm like freaking out. I'm going, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Yeah." So I said, "Well, what's happening now?" And it's like been an hour already. He's in that mask.
Oh my God.
So he said they called Lauren and told Lauren what was going on. This is Friday before the show. Lauren called a couple of his plastic surgeon friends that were at a party and said, "You got to get over here to Studio 8H. Told them what was going on." And they come. And I think they maybe had a few drinks, and they bring a little kid of X-Acto knives with them. And so they pull the mask away from Jeff's face and they lower the X-Acto knife in there and they slowly cut his eyebrows off from the plaster, both eyebrows.
Oh my God.
So now they got to cut the eyelashes, and then they pull it all the way down. They get that off. And now it's stuck to his beard. It's still covering his nose, stuck to his beard. So they got to give him shots of Novocaine all the way down as they're pulling it to numb his skin.
Oh my God.
And I almost died just thinking about it because I could so relate to, if it were me, I'd probably be dead.
You'd be dead.
So he comes in the next day. He comes up to me. He's got no eyebrows. He's got no eyelashes. His face is all red and blotchy. He goes, did you hear what happened to me? I said, no, what happened?
Wow.
But he said he told his wife, who was back at the hotel, and she ran into the bathroom and threw up. Good
Yeah.
thing she wasn't stuck in a face mask.
But wait, did he not? I mean, after that, I feel like there's a piece of
But
me
he
that's
was
like,
also playing Jay Leno.
That's what it was for?
That's how he
this
got
is the
back
curse
at
of
us.
Jay Leno.
Yeah.
This is why. It's all Jay's fault.
Uh-huh.
I would have not hosted. I'd have been like, I'm going home. This isn't, I would have been
He's
so
pretty
upset.
amazing. I would have too. I mean, I would have been traumatized.
He
I
wasn't-
don't know if he got claustrophobia from that.
Was he mad about it? Could you feel he was kind of pissed off the rest of when he hosted? Was he mad the rest of the weekend?
I didn't sense that in memory. You know, I think he was just like, holy cow, man, that was crazy. You know?
That's such a
He's
patient
like a
way.
Midwestern guy,
Yeah.
Midwestern, Michigan guy, I
That's
guess.
weird, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That stuck to my beard, and you know.
That's panic for me. Like I have claustrophobia to a very small degree. It's not, I don't have, but like certain things do give me super bouts of anxiety and panic.
I'll tell you what it's about. Any kind of, well, I'm not a doctor or anything, but a lot of phobias, not all of them, but some phobias and anxiety and panic attack, it's breathing. It's your breathing.
Yeah.
Because you start hyperventilating, which doesn't mean breathing a lot. Sometimes it means not breathing at all. You forget to breathe. And I went to a phobia doctor in the valley here. I remember this. And believe it or not, his name was Doctor.
No.
Yeah, that's what his name. And he taught me how to breathe. And for a long time, I carried a brown paper lunch bag with me. And I would breathe into the bag. If I started a panic attack or if there's traffic out there, I'd get the bag out and go, you breathe in, I think it's 4 beats, and then you breathe out for 8 beats. And you deflate the bag.
And that works.
That worked. And I would, anytime I was like getting anxious about being stuck in a tunnel, like in New York, because I'd always have to leave Manhattan, you have to go through the tunnel.
Yeah.
And I'd always like bring a blanket or a coat to put over my head and my headphones and my iPod. And I just listened, blast everything out before I even got into the tunnel. So I didn't even want to know when I was in the tunnel.
Wow.
You know,
When did this cease for you?
it probably lasted about 2 years.
So it was a heavy part of your life. I mean, it overtook your life a little bit.
The thing about that and anxiety is you invite it in
Mm-hmm.
and you let it come in.
Of course.
It's like a vampire almost. It's like you let it, you don't want it, but it overtakes you and you just welcome it.
And you
if you're
find
in it-
more ways to amplify the anxiety, and you almost what's that word with an addict? You know, when you facilitate, when you continue to facilitate, enable it. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you enable your anxiety is what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what hurts me the most. I've talked about mental health on the show a whole bunch, but I had severe panic attacks when I was in college, and I went to this therapist. But I used to get them because I had ocular migraines. I go blind in my right eye.
No way.
It's crazy. It's a precursor for migraines. So
You still get migraines?
not really. The
Because they
last
say Botox is good for migraines.
is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't need Botox. My skin is so tight. I get them probably once every 3 years. Once every 3 or 4 years, but I used to get them pretty regularly.
What's it from? Stress?
Yeah, stress,
Light?
diet, it's a lot of stuff. Light is
Sunlight, yeah. My
yes.
sister gets migraine. She wears these big Jackie O sunglasses to cover all the...
Yeah, light, stress, diet, sleep schedule, he said, is probably the worst.
So it's like a
Contributors.
STD. I get it.
Same thing.
get it, yeah.
Same thing. And if whatever you need to tell yourself to get through it. Yeah, use the same medication for anxiety as herpes. But I would just have panic attacks when it started to happen. And I thought I was going to die. Then I would go to the
Oh, is that
hospital.
bad?
Oh, man. I would go blind in my right eye. And in my left eye would just kind of look wavy. You know when you ever near a fire pit, and if you close your eyes, you know you can still see heat lines or feel that heat
Yeah.
wave? That's what it looks like. It just makes you go blind. And then I would have that, and eventually I got over it, but it took me a year and a half to get through. When I finally realized that I could control everything, I just went to a therapist, and she was like, "You can control it. You know that. You can almost make it
So
go
there's no
away.
medicine you take for that.
You can take migraine medication, but I don't really take stuff. I don't
Yeah.
like that. So you could take it when you felt it onset, or you can go into a dark room, close your eyes, cover up, which is what I do now when it happens. By the way, Weeds, I wanted to tell Mary Louise Parker. Am I saying it right?
Mhm.
Yeah. That show was severely underrated, in my opinion. I think it did very well, but I do think not enough people I knew saw the show. But then when I saw the show and liked it, and I'd known who you were, but not known you personally, because we only met maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago. Something like that. I assumed you were a heavy pot smoker. I just thought. I was
Yeah.
like, this might
No, it
because
wasn't.
so often guys play stuff on TV. Like, Seth Rogen always plays a pothead. He's a pothead.
Yeah.
He plays a pothead constantly.
Right.
I did kind of assume you might have been one of those guys, but
No.
that's nowhere near you.
No.
You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do much.
I mean, I did drink. I'd never had a problem drinking. But,
Right.
Most weekends, tequila. I love tequila.
But not anymore.
Not anymore. It just takes too long to recover.
Yeah,
Like,
it's bad.
it's just, I'd rather wake up at 8 or 7 in the morning feeling great and
Yeah.
not be dragging all day with a headache,
Now, was weed ever a thing for you?
No.
Never.
No.
Huh. Even today, will you try some once in a while or no?
No,
Doesn't-
I mean, I don't need it. I mean, I've got so many things that make me happy.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't have anxiety anymore, and I don't have the claustrophobia.
Yeah.
I'm like dead inside.
No, you're not. No, you're,
I'm not.
you're probably the most alive because you don't.
I'm alive, but it's funny because my wife will tell me, you just don't have you don't have the I get all bubbly and happy and excited for things and you're like very even
Keeled.
Yeah, because you're not demonstrative with your feelings or your emotion. I said I think it's because I just don't trust anything anymore.
What do you mean?
Like if somebody
people?
says you got a job, you're going to Europe to shoot this film. Oh, that's great. But I'm always a little like reserved where my wife is like, oh my God, like, I got a check out of the blue once, for weeds. Like they did an
Residuals.
audit and they had residuals from Europe and it was a lot of money. The check came. And I show my wife, for me, it's like a check. It's going to go in the bank. They'll tax it,
Right.
But I show it to her and she slumps against the wall and falls down on the floor. And she's in the fetal position, just happily crying, And then she got a job she's an actress. She got a job on the Christopher Guest movie. She's a huge fan of his.
Oh, same.
And same thing, just so excited. And
You temper your happiness.
I think so, even with SNL. And so when I got SNL, I mean, it wasn't as magical as when I did the first Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
Yeah.
I was excited to have it, but I still didn't trust it because they could cancel the show anytime.
Take it away, fire you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the show was about to be canceled when we came on. So we were all living out of our suitcase week by week.
In
Didn't
a
unpack.
hotel?
It was a hotel for the first week or so until we
Right.
found an apartment. And then we were in apartments, we rented apartments, like studio apartments.
Yeah.
And so you just don't trust it.
Yeah.
And that's the business, I think.
I feel the same way. I feel like because anything can get pulled out from under you at any moment.
Yeah.
But I think we need more of your wife's vibe than I think we need more of that.
Oh, totally. I mean, I really appreciate how excited she gets. Sometimes I'll like overdo it just to show her I can get excited. Like we'll go look at houses, and
This is amazing.
that's what I do. I go overboard. I go, oh my God, did you see the kitchen? It's got a sink. It's got a stove. It's got everything.
You won't believe it. Dish washer. It washes dishes.
Yeah. And then even on the drive home, can you believe that house?
Does she know it's bullshit? Does she
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
stop
She's rolling her eyes.
overselling
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I know you probably won't tell me, but I do want to know how big the residual check was so bad.
It was $250,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's oh my
Are you
God.
falling to the
I'm
floor
your wife.
now?
I'm your
Yeah,
wife.
Your wife. Yeah.
That is residual checks are usually not that big. I mean, I guess
No, well,
The show
maybe
was
it was
on-
50,000.
lie. The show was on for a good enough amount of time where it could garner a big audience, overseas and have that. I've never had that experience with checks like that, where with residual checks.
I never did either.
Yeah, the biggest I ever got was when I did my first commercial. Did you ever do commercials?
Yeah.
I did a Mike's Hard Lemonade commercial.
Oh, you would be perfect for that.
I got a Mike's Hard Lemonade commercial, and I remember the guy saying, "Now look, the check's going to be bad up front because it's a day rate, but it's residuals because it wasn't a buyout back then. It was for
How
people
many times they played it?
right for people that know. Yeah, it's how many times it airs, and I always thought, oh man, I thought I booked that. That was my thing. I thought I booked this commercial, and I'm going to make some money, finally, and I washed it away. And then a month and a half later, I got a phone call from someone back in Chicago. I was like, dude, I'm at a fucking bar and I see your face on a commercial. I'm ESPN. I'm watching the ball game and I'm seeing you over and over. Dude, they're playing it all the time. And in my head, I'm like, whoa, that's nuts. Maybe that'll be some money.
Yeah.
And again, like you, I've always been not pessimistic, but realistic.
Yeah.
I'm always like, probably not. And then sure enough, a month or two later after that, after the run, I started to see it. I got a couple of very large checks.
Wow.
And
now,
it
when you
changed my
say
life.
large, what do you mean?
Well, the first one was for $28,000.
Nice.
And I was 24 years old. And
wow.
I probably made that in a year
Yeah.
when I first moved out here. I probably made 28 grand
Hustling.
a year. Yeah. Hard. Yeah. And I thought that was, and then I got 4 or 5 more checks ensuing as the time went on. But like that, I remember feeling like, wow, this is incredible. You can make real money.
Yeah.
For years, because you don't make any fucking, you make $5 in a free sandwich when you were doing shows and stuff.
One of my biggest disappointments was the first commercial I ever got.
Was it?
I was so excited. It was for Nabisco Country Crackers. And
You're perfect for that.
they wanted a banjo player. I played the banjo.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to be with Lynn Anderson, who wrote and sang the song, I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. It was
Oh.
a song back then. Anyway, she's a country singer. So I did it. I filmed it. I got it. And I did it. And everybody was so excited for me. Even Jay Leno said, hey, I saw your commercial on the TV the other night. Good for you. A week later, after it came out, they found copper dust in the crackers. So they had to pull it from all the shelves, and they pulled the commercial.
Were people dying?
They weren't dying,
Oh.
but, the FDA, I guess, tests it and stuff.
Copper dust?
Something like that.
How does that even get into the
I
cracker?
don't know, maybe from...
Some guy just shaving copper, just pennies. He's just like, they're going to love the way it tastes.
Yeah, no, I don't know what it was, but that I was so disappointed.
'Cause
Just
they
for a
pulled
brief
it.
second, I had that. But as far as like a big check, I remember I was in front of the Improv one night, and my friend who was a musician moved out to L.A. He was in a band in my hometown,
What's your hometown?
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport, right. I knew you were from Connecticut. I
Yeah.
don't know where.
His name was Peter McCann,
Mm-hmm.
and he was in a real popular band back in my neighborhood. He moved out here to do songwriting, and he got very successful. He wrote songs, "The Right Time of the Night,"
Oh.
and Do You Want to Make Love, or You Just Want to Fool Around? Anyway, they were big hits
Right.
for other people. And I saw him out in front of the Improv one night. Now we're both out here. And he pulls me aside. He goes, I got to show you this. And he had a couple of drinks. He was celebrating. He takes out a check, $100,000.
Wow. What year was that?
That was like 82.
Wow.
And
That's
saw
like 400 grand right now.
Yeah, I saw that though. And I thought, oh my God, I'll never see that. I'll never see a check like that. This guy's on his way.
Right. Right. Where is he now?
Nashville.
Yeah. Is he doing well? Is he still writing?
I haven't seen him in a long time.
I wonder. Shout out to Peter. Peter, let us know if you have seen this show. He writes you an angry letter. He says, you know what? I'm going to shoot in your big fat Mick head.
It's on the back of that check.
Yeah. That was McCann.
Yeah.
Are you a golfer or no?
I golf, but I'm not a golfer.
You should be because of how tall you are. You beat the shit out of the ball.
It's funny. I'm usually I hit the ball the least far out of every foursome I'm in.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you're a big guy.
Sometimes I'll hit a ball and I think I crushed that, and then the next guy will get up. He's like 5'2", crushes it like 100 yards past my ball.
Yeah.
But I don't golf. I golfed for the first time yesterday, in a year and a half.
Well, because I talked to Bertolina about didn't you do like a Callaway thing or something? You did a golf thing.
Yeah.
So then when he said that, I was like, oh my God, is he? He also says hello. But I was like, oh really? I didn't know you to be a golfer. Were you golfing for them or something?
No, it was a commercial. For
Oh, it
Callaway.
was? Okay, okay,
A web
okay.
during
Oh,
the
okay,
pandemic. There was a web series, a web thing. But I've golfed since I was 15, but I never got good. I'm not good at anything. I do a lot of stuff, but I'm not good at anything.
Stand up. Even still, yeah, you're right. Yeah, tepid.
I'm not like selling out theaters. I'm okay.
Yeah,
you know.
no, you're a good stand-up. You're
I
a
remember
very,
when I
very
saw
good
Robin
stand-up.
Williams for the first time. It was at the Laugh Stop in Newport Beach. It's not there anymore. But I was kind of new to LA, and I was checking out the scene, and I'd seen a lot of comics like Letterman and Leno. They were good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I see Robin Williams walking around running around the room, pulling stuff out of women's purses and improvising, and he had the Shakespeare hat on. Whoa, and all that energy. I thought, what am I doing? I'll never be that good. I'll never.
I felt that a million times.
Yeah.
When you see someone, you're like, well, I'm not good.
You say that with the comics and open mic night. I'll never be.
I think I say that to the guys that are waiting to get up on the open mic night.
Yeah.
The way they posture, I'm like, I'll never be that good.
There used to be a supper club in Santa Monica called The Horn, and they had singers and comics. I remember this is when I was starting out. I was doing a set there, and I finished, and I walked to the bar area, and it was all dark. And this guy goes, he had a Mets cap on, an old-fashioned Mets cap. And it's dark. I could barely see him. He goes, hey, it's really good, man. Stick with it. And I looked closer. It was George Carlin.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I said,
awesome.
oh, thanks, man. Coming from you. That's
Because
great.
stick with it's one of those things. It's one of those rude things, like when you meet someone and they're like,
You'll
"Oh,
get
you're a
better.
comic. You
Yeah.
think you're funny?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, man, I do. Yeah, I do think I'm very fucking fun. Like, what else? It's such a weird, lame insult when somebody goes, "Oh, you're a professional funny guy." You're like, "Yeah, I'm making a living doing it." Obviously, something clicked right.
Yeah.
Carlin, are you friends with Leno? By the way, you mentioned him a few times.
Yeah.
You are?
I know him. I've known him since, I moved out here. I used to see him like kill at the Improv. I used to see everybody at the Improv, like Andy Kaufman, Robin
Yeah.
Williams, all those comics.
Who impressed you the most?
Well, Robin Williams and Andy Kaufman.
Those two.
Yeah.
Andy was that good.
He was so different. I love the uniqueness of it all.
Yeah.
Like my 3 favorite comics were Steve Martin, Andy Kaufman, and Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with 2 of them now. And I met Andy Kaufman. I talked to him once for like a half hour in front of the Improv. And I asked him about TM because I knew he was into meditation.
Uh-huh.
And
Is that transcendental meditation? Yeah.
so he went on like a half hour just talking. I didn't listen to any. I was just looking at his face, the moles on his face, and saying, wow, that's Andy Kaufman's face.
You weren't interested in the words at all,
No, I just wanted to get him going and just hang with him.
just to watch him.
Yeah.
Was he the same? What was he like off stage? Because the character is all I know.
I didn't know him really personally, off stage. I would just see him, and I knew people that wrote for him and dated him. Actually dated a girl that used to date him. But I think he was, George Shapiro was his manager. He also manages Jerry Seinfeld, and
Yeah.
I know George pretty well, and we hang out a lot. So I don't really know what he was like, to answer your question, in person, but he seemed very kind of odd,
Disturbed,
very
maybe?
quiet. I don't know if disturbed is the word, but he very a creative guy, obviously. And I've just started showing my son the Andy Kaufman tapes.
Does he
and
like
he
them?
loves it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
How old is he?
14.
14. Does he like your stuff?
It's funny. He watches a lot of Saturday Night Live on YouTube, like
Yeah.
the current stuff. I said, Daddy was on there. You ever watch any of Daddy's stuff? And he goes, I'll watch it. So I show it to him, and I can see his mind wandering.
This is great,
Yeah,
Dad, for you.
yeah.
That's good for
That
you,
must
Dad.
have been funny back then. And then I'm watching it thinking, this isn't as funny as I remembered it to be.
But that's how I feel about it. Is anything stand-up wise, does anything hold up of yours or someone else's that you can look back on from, 25 years ago and go, God, that was just as funny then as it is, or
I don't
funny
know.
now as it is.
I did 2 specials.
Yeah.
And I look at them now, and I think, I thought that was a lot stronger back then.
Right.
Maybe you believe you talk yourself into it, so you have the confidence when you go out there. This is good stuff, baby.
Sure.
This is good stuff.
This is the A sauce.
Yeah. But then, 20 years later, you look at it, and you go,
But it's also a sign of the times. So it's
It is
so
too,
hard
yeah.
to capture. You see those jokes or you see old stuff that we used to love. And then most of the time I go, that was just because of the time. It was just great because of what was going on.
Yeah, but I see some sketches from SNL from back then that still hold up. Like the Chris Farley Chippendales sketch. and
Yeah.
A lot of
Well,
sketches back
physical
then.
stuff usually does hold up.
Yeah.
I'm always going to laugh at Pratt stuff. Anything there's a fall and a crash but it's hard to do.
But even Sid Caesar, that show, your
Yeah.
show of shows, there
Yeah.
was some funny stuff on there. And
Sure.
Carol Burnett. And,
Yeah, they
know.
had some great, clever stuff, but it doesn't hit me in the funny bone. Like, I don't laugh
Monty
out loud.
Python. Yeah.
But Monty Python was kind of physical and goofy,
Yeah.
big humor.
That's true.
So anything that's physical to me, I'm going to inherently like that more. I mean, that's why Jim was so good, and his stuff kind of transcended just stand up, is because it was so physical and weird, and it was almost you were watching a cartoon come to life.
It was very animated.
Like, did you have any relationship with Jim or no?
We were married for 3 years.
3
Yeah,
years?
3 years. And it turns out he was my soulmate.
Your first wife? And you
Yes.
met him and he was your soulmate.
No, I've known him for a long time. We played basketball together at Gary Shandling's one time. I would see him at the Improv. I remember him. I hadn't seen him for a while, and I saw him in front of the Improv when the Improv had an awning out front. That's how I remember this,
Right.
because he was standing under the awning, and he told me he was getting back into stand-up, doing impressions. Because I used to see him at the Comedy Store, and he'd do all those, the James Dean, the rubbery face, and it was all the facial stuff,
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood, yeah, just always, but that's to the extent that I knew him. And the last time I saw him was at a party at Chelsea Handler's apartment, and he told me he had a beard. He told me he was getting into art, he's painting.
He is, yeah.
Doing sculpturing. And I go, why is that? He goes, well, I like doing. He goes, also, people won't remember you as an actor after you die. 50 years, nobody remembers. And it's true because millennials now don't even know who Warren Beatty is.
I guess, yeah.
So he goes, I think he said to me, if I remember correctly, that that's how he wants to be remembered.
As an artist?
Pieces of artwork people will remember him from this. It's like a Monet or something,
Yeah.
And
That's pretty valuable. I mean, you make great art.
I've been painting too, yeah.
Your stuff is great, man.
Thank you.
It's actually really, really impressive. Also, to watch your process is kind of cool because you put on Instagram, people that you should look up, go to his Instagram and see. You'll show the image and then you'll show how you got to the image.
Yeah, I'll
Which
show
I think
the
is cool.
evolution of it. And I do digital art. It's digital painting.
Yeah.
And it's fun because, you can play around with it and it's not as messy as oil, although I'm taking oil painting classes now.
See, I'm so bad at that. I have zero physical artistic ability. It's almost shocking how bad I am at that. I've
Most
tried.
people don't, I think.
Yeah. But some people can get by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like mine
where mine came from? I think it was from having to draw maps in school, where you had to copy the map, but you couldn't trace it. You had to look at it and draw the coastline, And for some reason, that sticks out in my head.
That's what you had to do in school?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Really?
Draw maps?
Yeah. We had to, draw a map of Europe or United States. Al Franken, who was a senator, can draw the United States, every state.
Really?
Put it all together.
The physical outline?
Yeah, of every state, and put it all together, yeah.
That's insane.
And he'll do that at a fundraiser. He'll draw it, and then he'll sign it for you. And give it to
Really?
you. Yeah.
That's what he does?
Yeah.
We never had to draw maps. I'm thinking about that. That obviously was something, it was because when you went to school, they were figuring out all the land, I guess. They were...
Well, there was a lot of treaties were going on back then, and the wars were ending. And,
Spanish-American, you were around for that, weren't you?
I was around for the Spanish-American, the Mexican-American, and the French-American Revolution.
What happened with the French-American Revolution? Those guys, we ended up being okay with them in the end, right?
We gave them Montreal.
Right. We
and
took
that was it.
Yeah, but Canada now are they just the watchdogs? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Of that whole thing?
Yeah.
One of my favorite, I want to tell you this, two things. One, I'm happy that you came. I really do appreciate it. And
It's my pleasure.
One of my favorite things that I kind of got involved knowing you and you knowing me was you used to do stand-up nights at the Laugh Factory where you'd have to do new material only.
Yeah.
And I like that because you were pretty judgmental of people that would bring old stuff. Because I talked to you one time, I remember, and you'd be like, I really don't appreciate it when people
said
do
that?
Yeah, you did.
I'm surprised I said that.
You did.
Actually, you know what? I wasn't that unappreciative. I wanted to give comics that opportunity to try some new material in their stand-up. But if they didn't try it in their 7-minute or 10-minute spot, in the beginning, that's cool because then we sat down together and that's where we could maybe come up with new material.
Right. I would do that with you. I came up with a few great things with you sitting in the chairs going back and forth. But I think what you were saying was, I think it was my first time on the show and you were imploring me to not do.
Really?
I think you were like, I think you were just giving me the gist of the whole thing. You were like, I really like it when people try out new stuff. I love watching their new stuff. You said it in a way that was more pleasant than I'm presenting it.
Okay.
It wasn't like, do it or I'll be pissed.
Yeah.
No, but it was very much like you were
And
pushing
I don't know
for
what
it.
new stuff is. I don't know what people's acts that well.
You can feel it a little
but
bit,
if
though.
they get a big laugh, it's usually not new stuff.
Yeah. You can always feel, like when I would see your show and I'd go over there, you can always kind of feel when someone's just wrote a good new bit.
Yeah.
Because it works well, but not excellent. It's like it works and people, you can feel them going, all right, right on. This is a good.
You know who was great about that was Tony Rock.
Yeah, I love Tony
He
Rock.
would come in on his cell phone and have a whole bunch of areas, and he'd try it. And
Yeah.
they were usually pretty good. He was
And-
like 70%.
He'd wander through really good new bits.
Yeah.
Tony, my favorite story with Tony Rock. Tony was in Chicago at a layover at O'Hare, and he sees a redheaded guy, by the Sbarro, And he said, he picks up his bag and he goes, Santino! And the guy doesn't turn around. And he goes, Santino! And he said he doesn't turn around. And then he goes up to him, and Tony tells me a story. He pushes the guy on the shoulder.
Oh, no.
Like hard. And he goes, he goes, motherfucker, you ignoring me? And the guy turned around. He was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know you, but I'm not ignoring you at all. And he was like, oh, no, I thought you were this other dude. And the guy was so nervous and kind of like flustered by it. And
That's funny.
In Tony's words, he's like, this motherfucker turned as red as his hair, man. You should have seen this dude's face. But he was like,
Tony should have turned red.
He goes, I was for sure it was you. No, but he goes,
All redheads look alike, don't they?
We do for the most part.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, I'm just Bill Burr, a miniature version of Bill.
I have a friend who has red hair. I haven't seen him in a while, but he said that he always gets embarrassed when another person with red hair comes in the room. He has to leave.
Right. There can only be one of us. I don't like it. I don't like seeing other redheads because I don't like them.
Gingers.
Yeah, gingies. When I see another one, I'm like, ugh, I don't want to be anywhere near. And always, no matter who you're with, if another redhead enters the room, someone you're with will go,
You guys know each other?
right. Like it's a thing. It's the weirdest.
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes I'll grow a goatee.
Yeah.
And it'll just come in, like after a week or two, I'll have a nice goatee, and then someone will come in the room with a goatee, and I think, okay, that's it. Mine's coming off.
I got to take it off.
Yeah.
I've never seen you with facial hair, by the way.
Occasionally I'll do it. I notice a lot of guys my age start growing like a goatee because it covers the jowls that are starting to sag a little bit, But then you get the white beard.
Yeah, but the white beard's cool, man.
Yeah, I guess.
I think that's cool. My dad
like the
grows
white-
it out every Christmas. He does like a big Santa beard, and I like it.
Oh, the whole beard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What? There was that phase, like Letterman had the big beard. I think
Oh,
he
I
still
love it.
does. And then Conan, remember that period of time after a show? He's on the
Well,
road.
that was trauma. I think that was trauma
He
growth.
forgot where his shaver was.
He just would wake up and go do it. And his show was great. I'm sad
Oh.
that that's gone. Well, I mean, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So look, I appreciate you coming. I really do. It means a lot to me. I'm a big fan of you as a human, as a comedian. If you're looking to go see Kev on the road, go to website is
KevinNealon.com.
KevinNealon.com. You can see all the dates. I love that. See, I got AndrewSantino.com early
Yeah.
because I hate when a comic has one that's like,
The real.
Right.
And just,
yeah.
I mean, there's fake ones out there?
Yeah, no, this is the one.
The official.
KevinNealon.com to go see him on tour. A hilarious comedian you have to see.
And if you have a good name for my tour, just DM me.
Yeah, please. Could you please name his tour? And I need it too, but I'll just use whatever you use. It'll be called Not Kevin Nealon's Tour. Come see
Yeah.
Andrew Santino live.
Yeah. Oh, man.
We end the show the same way with one word or one phrase. I want you to look into that camera right there. I'm going to walk off, and you're going to say one word or one phrase that's going to end the episode, so make it count.
Okay. Curious.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.